Women are becoming more powerful than ever, and more celebrities are getting behind the feminist movement. Because of recent backlash, proclaiming to be a feminist is almost like shouting a four-letter word. Whether it's through their actions on their own words, the women on this list are anything but feminists. Just wait until you see why Beyonce is getting resistance from other women in the movement. Stay tuned to find out. If you are new to our channel, click the red subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. Today we are discussing 10 celebrity women who aren't feminists. Miley Cyrus. Over the years, Miley Cyrus has received some serious flack from the feminist movement. From the way she dresses to the way she treats the opposite gender, her feminist card seems to be revoked. Cyrus claims to be a part of the everyone is equal movement, but she doesn't always practice what she preaches. While on an Australian radio show, Cyrus spoke about how she thinks feminism is amazing. She also claimed that she supports the idea that everyone should be able to do what they want regardless of their gender. Then, less than 10 minutes later, she started bashing men to get the point across. She claimed that men don't have as many emotions as women, nor are they as complicated. While some women might agree or find this funny, this way of thinking is harmful to the feminist movement. The problem with this statement is that lifting women up shouldn't come at the cost of bashing the opposite gender. Miley Cyrus may claim to be a part of the movement, but thinking like this isn't getting anyone anywhere. For now, Cyrus will have to sit on the sidelines until she figures out how feminism actually works. Taylor Swift. Sorry, Taylor Swift fans, but your girl who seemed like she was all about women might actually not be. You see, there are several cases against Swift and her so-called feminism. Many women believe that Swift only introduces a strong female point of view when it benefits her. She never actually talks about real women's issues, like the wage gap. The last time she showed powerful women in a music video was in Bad Blood, which was basically bashing Katy Perry. It's kind of hard to believe this video came from the same girl who claims there is a special place for women who tear other women down. Another reason women find Swift problematic in the feminist movement has to do with her squad. Have you ever noticed that Swift's best friends lack diversity? All her friends seem to be tall, skinny, and beautiful. In other words, they are the mean girls of the entertainment industry. This isn't sending the right message to other women. Why can't she have more people of color or different body types in her clique? Seems strange, right? Feminism isn't exclusive, it's inclusive. That is, unless you were T. Swift. Susan Sarandon. This may break a couple of hearts, but Susan Sarandon isn't a feminist, at least not in her own words. We know she has stood for women's rights in the past, but she wants everyone to know she isn't a feminist. Instead, Sarandon identifies as a humanist. She claims that the old-fashioned feminism she grew up with has come with some backlash. Many people feel alienated by the feminism of the 1960s and 1970s. Yes, women definitely benefited from the movement, and she recognizes that. She believes that the new generation of women who benefited from the first feminist movement don't necessarily identify with it. The problem with Sarandon's thinking is that it doesn't matter how women act when trying to bring awareness to equal rights. They are trying to bring attention to the oppression of women and will do so by any means possible. No, they shouldn't bash men or other women, but that doesn't mean they can't show a little grit. Though Sarandon is often on the right side of women's issues, she may have missed the mark with her statements. So for now, her feminism card is revoked. Shailene Woodley. One of the problems with feminism, according to Shailene Woodley, is that it comes with a label. Because of this, she claims she isn't one. Instead, Woodley identifies as someone who wants a balance of power between men and women. She thinks that feminism is about empowering women at the cost of putting men down. This actually isn't what feminism is about, but we will keep moving. Woodley also says it's hard for her to get behind a movement that supports women when women aren't actually respecting one another. She doesn't like the fact that women are often bashing one another and aren't working together for the greater good. She would rather support a group of women who want to bring each other together in sisterhood. She also doesn't want to see men without power. Woodley claims to love men, but she doesn't realize that feminists can also like men. The problem for Woodley is you can't always stand for something without getting a label. Though her way of thinking is nice and seems peaceful, it's not how politics work, nor is it how feminism works. Though she may not mind, Shailene Woodley cannot be labeled as a feminist. Meryl Streep. Oscar-winning actress Meryl Streep has never shied away from her point of view. Streep is always fighting for the equal rights of women in the entertainment industry. She even starred in a movie about women's suffrage, which was the passing of the law allowing women to vote. Considering all these pro-women actions, Meryl Streep still doesn't identify herself as a feminist. She is yet another female celebrity that claims to be a humanist. She wants an equal balance for both men and women, which sounds a lot like feminism to us. The problem with the older generation is that feminism wasn't as accepted as it is today. Instead, many people felt that women in this movement were less than desirable. This old way of thinking is riddled with misogynistic undertones, which happens to be the exact reason why women even started the feminist movement. Whether Meryl Streep considers herself a feminist or not, her actions speak louder than her words. She recognizes the struggle of women's points of views in Hollywood, and she battles for their voices to be heard. Sadly, her old-timey views of the movement exclude her from the feminist sisterhood. Lana Del Rey. Mainstream media has an obsession with asking female celebrities to take sides when it comes to feminism. Singer Lana Del Rey isn't having any of it. In fact, according to her interview with Fader magazine, she has other things to think about. She would rather talk about the future and space exploration because feminism bores her. Of course, her sentiments weren't well received by other women. The problem here is that these two things don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can care about women's rights and the future of space exploration. Del Rey thinks that the new generation has the luxury of not having to worry about feminism. Instead of worrying about the social issue, she would rather move on and talk about things that are more interesting to her. So while many women are still worried about their health insurance and chipping away at the glass ceiling, you can find Lana Del Rey thinking about the cosmos. Though her views on the topic make her seem like a little bit of a space cadet, we don't blame her for being interested in the future of science. You do you, Lana Del Rey. Demi Moore. People love Demi Moore and the fact that she made it okay for older women to date young guys. Sadly, even though she loves empowering other women, she has said it herself, she isn't a feminist. Moore claims that she is a humanist and thinks that is where society needs to be. This is coming from the woman who played a tough-as-nails female soldier in G.I. Jane. She worries more about the issues that affect every human, not just women. Moore claims that women have already made a ton of strides for equality, and now it's time to focus on everyone. The notion of being a humanist actually goes back pretty far. It first popped up in vocabulary around the Renaissance era. The problem is, back then, the humanist movement was largely reserved for white men. They were the ones in power and they weren't concerned about the interests of others. We aren't saying that it's still the logic today, we are just saying it's a little ironic that someone would claim to be a humanist given its less than inclusive beginnings. Because of this and her own words, Demi Moore isn't considered a feminist. Nicki Minaj. The discussion of Nicki Minaj being a feminist or not has been a hot-button issue for years. While many cheered when she released her revealing album cover for Anaconda, others were not so thrilled. Many women who claim to be feminists don't agree that Nicki Minaj should be included in their movement, even if she identifies with it. This is mostly because of that same album cover. Yes, feminists can applaud her for wanting women to bear it all without shame, but the problem comes when the female body is used to sell a product. They believe that Minaj's body was used by her record label to elicit sales of her album, not to bring empowerment to women. When corporations use the movement to gain a profit, it's obviously against everything feminism stands for. Many thought that Minaj took a bold move with the album cover, but when you get down to the real scheme of things, she was just using her body because she knew it would get attention. Feminism is always up for interpretation, and though she may be a role model for women, she isn't a role model for feminism. Sorry, Nicki Minaj. Lady Gaga. Everyone knows that Lady Gaga is a strong female celebrity. She is so strong that people questioned her gender when she first took the spotlight. Of course, she took it all in stride and laughed it off. All this makes it surprising that she doesn't call herself a feminist. She fights for women's issues such as human trafficking and the music industry using women. But she said it herself, she isn't a feminist because she doesn't hate men. In fact, Lady Gaga loves men and American male culture. She likes beer, muscle cars, and bars. But what she may not see is that you can be a feminist and still enjoy these things. Sadly, her view of feminism is entirely flawed and even a little old school. Thankfully, she later claimed she was a little bit of a feminist, but she still hasn't come out as such. This is is a hard one to swallow because though she stands up for women all over the world, why won't she just admit she's a feminist? It isn't like Gaga to be scared of being true to herself. Until then, all we can do is count her as someone who isn't part of the movement. Beyonce. Brace yourselves, ladies. Queen Bee isn't a feminist. Well, at least in some people's minds. Hear us out. Everyone can agree that Beyonce shocked the world with the release of her visual album Lemonade. While many people claimed it was the single most female-empowering art on the planet, many others were calling foul, including other artists. Azalea Banks was quick to call Beyonce out on her so-called feminism. She claimed Beyonce couldn't be viewed as a strong woman when she keeps letting herself get played by her man. She claimed that Beyonce gets money for continuously playing the victim card. Of course, that didn't sit well with the Beehive, but Banks wasn't alone in her sentiments. Other feminists felt that Beyonce's album left a lot of women out. These people believed that Beyonce's Lemonade was about empowering herself, not other women. They claimed she shouldn't be the go-to person for relationship advice. There are many women who aren't in the same position as Beyonce who can just forgive their man and move on. While we can appreciate that she found the strength to fix her life, that isn't always the case. What is your opinion of these celebrities who aren't feminists? Start a conversation in the comment section below. For more female celebrity videos, check out 10 women only men find attractive. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to The Taco.